discussing a topic that will a lot of people do in a minute. For that, what I want to do is go onto the website, which is www.chaiwith.com, as in the month. Go to the website and share with me, let me know any special moments that you have, or anyone that you know, family, friends, who won awards such as singing, dancing, rapping, whatever it is that you want to share with the rest of our viewers. I'd like you to log to www.chaiwithritu.com. It'll be on the screen. Tell me what it is that you want to share, and then I can judge it as to whether it is something we can feature. I'd love to feature as many of you as possible, because I think we really do deserve to give back something that you have really worked hard for and are unsung heroes. So do that, www.chaiwithritu.com. Today we have a different program. We're not having a phone-in program because normally we find our phones get jammed and callers can't get through. So today it will be a discussional program. The discussion today is about faith schools. Now, you've heard about faith schools. These are schools which are being set up for a particular religion, and then they also encompass everything else on the curriculum. Are they actually a hindrance to us creating a society which is cohesive? Is it a hindrance or is it an aid? And that really is the question that we're going to unpick today and discuss it with my two guests. One being Ritu Oct Dec. She's here with us today. She is the founder of Science School of Harrow, which was the first ethnic group promoting citizenship values. Welcome to the show. The school has also won the Queen's Award for voluntary service, so a beacon in its own right. And my second guest is Kunal Sapat. Kunal Sapat is an A-level student at the Swami Narayan Senior School in Neasden. It's a Hindu school, and he has here to share his experience with his life at the school. So it'll be great to hear your first-hand experience there. Well, welcome to the show, both of you. Now, if I can just ask you, Ritu, you set up the Science School of Harrow, which is a Saturday school, is that right? How long ago did you set it up?
There was a growing need about 12 years ago, when a lot of the Hindu parents had the fear that their children would lose their cultural identity.
Right.
And it was at that point that we started looking at opening a supplementary school. And we launched it in April 1995 from Harrow.
Okay, and how many students did you have originally?
When we started, we had 100 who had registered, so we started off with 100, and 10 years later we have 550 now.
Okay, and who are the teachers who actually teach there?
This is a completely free school, and the teachers are obviously from Hindu backgrounds, and they've covered the syllabus. But each one of us, we've got 40 teachers at the moment, all of them offering their voluntary services to the school.
Okay, let's talk about the students. Who actually attends the school?
School is, I would say, predominantly children from Hindu families, but it's also quite popular from children of mixed marriages, because the syllabus actually teaches about other faiths as well, which is part of the program introduced by Sai Baba, that we have to teach children about respecting other faiths.
And what did you have any difficulties in opening up the school?
We were very fortunate that Harrow Council was extremely generous at the time when we had spoken to them about the need, and they have actually given us one of their mainstream schools to use at weekends. So fortunately for us, there wasn't such a big stumbling block.
So you found there was a lot of support there?
There was a lot of support, and I think at that time it was probably the only one, and they knew that there was more Asian people settling into the borough.
And the future of the school is for you to set up a full-time school, is that right?
Yes, obviously, we've done a survey with the parents, and they all feel that, they would like, they're extremely satisfied with the way we're running the Saturday school, and giving them an all-round educational program, which includes not only knowing about their own culture and heritage, they've learned how to respect other faiths, and most of all, I think, the citizenship program, where we're empowering our children to put back into the community.
So what kind of difficulties and obstacles set up from a Saturday school to a full-time school?
Well, the thing is, with a faith school, you've got to have excellent relations with your local council, which Science School has, because we've been working in partnership with Harrow Council over 10 years. And we had expressed an interest in setting up a full-time school nearly 3 or 4 years ago.
Right, that long ago.
Yes. And then when the voluntary aid bids were released, we were obviously interested in putting in a bid, having had the experience of running a weekend school and having done the survey amongst the parents. But at the same time, the I Foundation, which is linked to the temple in Watford, Ishkon Temple, they were also interested in putting in a bid. So there were 2 bids that went in for the first Hindu school. And sadly, the local authority, rejected our, or
Isn't that
rejected
a
our
big
bid.
coincidence that there hasn't been any Hindu schools? In fact, all over the country, there has been no Hindu schools set up, state schools. I mean, we'll come to the Swaminarayan school in a minute. And yet, in 1 year, 2 schools are thinking the same thing, that there should be a Hindu school and in the same borough.
The thing is, in Harrow, we'd already, expressed an interest about 4 years ago, and for a group from Watford to suddenly come into, like, an imported group to come into Harrow to put in a bid, was a shock for us.
So why do you think they didn't go to their own?
I'm not sure, but when the, the population statistics were released prior to the bids, Harrow now has the highest Hindu population in the country, so maybe they felt that,
There was a need
there was
there.
a need there, and that is why the 2
And
bids
the
went into.
council would have looked at it more favourably, I suppose, than their own council in Watford.
In Hertsmere,
Hertsmere
yes.
Council.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to someone who's actually had experience of going through a Hindu school, the Swaminarayan school in Neasden, which everyone knows about, world famous, isn't it? So Kunal, what's been your experience in being a student there?
Well, I think it's been a very good experience since I've been there. Since I was 12 in year 7, I think.
And you're now doing your A-levels,
Yeah,
aren't
I'm
you?
now in my final year of A-levels.
Right.
Well, if I had gone to a different state school, then I don't think my experience of education would have been the same.
Right, what would the difference be? Because a lot of our
Well,
viewers obviously go to mainstream schools.
Going to a Hindu school like my school, you're reminded of your cultural values, and your the values you're taught at home are the same as the values at school. Whereas if you went to like a normal school, maybe like you would perhaps forget about your own values. And
So people who go to, children your age or who go to school, do you think they struggle with their own religion or their own identity because they go to mainstream?
well, not necessarily, but going to mainstream schools, it is the case sometimes when young people forget about their own beliefs and own culture, and it is important to be reminded of them.
So
And
the school actually enforces those values in you, is that what you're saying?
well, it helps with that, yes.
And what about the teachers? Are they all from Hindu background?
No, it's a mixture of teachers from different backgrounds.
Okay.
It's not just Hindu teachers.
So which part of the actual curriculum enforces a Hinduism in you? I mean, out of
Well,
the 100%.
In our school, we do GCSE religious studies,
Okay.
and well, that has 2 parts. The first part is our chosen religion, and like our school does Hinduism.
So you would do Hinduism and something else.
Yeah, the second part is religion and life, where you learn about issues such as abortion, marriage, and so on, but from points of view from different religions,
Okay.
except there's we learn about Hinduism as well, like so because our chosen religion for religious studies is Hinduism.
Okay, could a student going to that school choose another religion as their chosen religion to study?
Well, the school only does that one syllabus,
Okay.
so I don't know about that, but we do learn about parts of other religions
So
as well.
do you learn about Christianity and about Judaism and everything else?
Parts of it, yes, in
Okay.
in the religion and life section of religious studies.
So do you think it actually makes you more tolerant to other religions?
Yeah,
Or does it make you think, well, I'm a Hindu first?
Well, it makes you respect other religions, but it also it reminds you that you are actually a Hindu.
First and foremost.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Although you are taught to respect other religions as well, and treat them as you would treat.
So it's not only keeping you in the faith, so to speak.
Not as such, no. But it's just you're taught to respect all religions, really.
Kunal, I'd love to know a typical day in the life of a student at the Swaminarayan School. But before we do, we will go for our first break, and join us after the break when we will hear more from Kunal and from Ranu, our guests today. Until then, enjoy your chai with Ritu.
You can have an inexpensive Christmas, a more relaxing Christmas, a bigger family Christmas. Because not only is every sofa and corner group in the DFS Winter Collection half price, but it's guaranteed to be in your home in time for a comfy Christmas. There's 4 years free credit and nothing to pay for the first year. Think new sofa for Christmas, think DFS. You can have an inexpensive Christmas, a more relaxing Christmas, a bigger family Christmas. Because not only is every sofa and corner group in the DFS Winter Collection half price, but it's guaranteed to be in your home in time for a comfy Christmas. There's 4 years free credit and nothing to pay for the first year. Think new sofa for Christmas, think DFS.
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ 5 ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਹੁਸਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀਅਤ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਰਸੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਫਰਾਈਡੇ 29th of November ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ।
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਨਿਊ ਈਅਰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ sponsored by the British Army.
ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਆਰਮੀ ਕਾਮਨਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਥ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਜ ਹੀ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ।
Army, be the best.
If you take the various components of the Asian community, it is natural to start with the Sikhs. They are a very martial.
की चाची को हेलो
माँ प्रणाम।
खुश रहो, भैया का फोन है लंदन से।
माँ जल्दी करो, मेरे कॉलिंग कार्ड पे सिर्फ 2 पाउंड बचे।
उफ, ये तुम्हारी कॉलिंग कार्ड्स ना।
माँ
You do not have enough credit on your card to make a call. अब अपनी बात पूरी कीजिए Just Dial के साथ. No accounts to open, no credit cards needed, no bills from us, and excellent line quality. So throw those calling cards. Just Dial का access number dial करो, prompt के बाद अपना destination number और फिर ढेरों बातें.
हाय माँ.
तो फिर से
माँ ये जस्ट डायल है. अब इंडिया कॉल करना इतना आसान और सस्ता है, हम जितनी चाहे बातें कर सकते हैं.
Just Dial 0871751500. Calls to India now only 6 pence per minute.
दिल पंजाब का पाकिस्तान चले गया है कदी ना पूरा होना ऐसा काटा पै गया है बड़िया पत्तन साडे ते जालिम दे पाने दा नहीं भुलना दुख सकता नू विछड़े न ठिकाने दा नहीं भुलना दुख सकता नू विछड़े न ठिकाने दा
Let's discuss your views, your opinions, your lifestyles as British Asians. Hello, welcome back to Chai with Ritu. I hope you're enjoying a hot cup of tea today, this Tuesday evening, and joining in the discussion and the debate. As I said to you earlier, we're not taking calls today because our lines do get jammed, but you can always log on onto www.chaiwithritu.com and let me have your views on the show, on any discussion or debate that we're having, or in fact on any discussion you want to have in the future. Do drop me a line, I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, we are talking here to Ranu and to Kunal, our two guests today. Kunal, you were going to tell us a typical day in the life of a student at the Swaminarayan School in Easton. What would it be like?
Well, I would say a typical day starts out with assembly every day.
Okay, now tell us about the assembly because that's quite important, isn't it?
We have assembly in our school every day in the Mandir, which is across the road from our school.
The world famous Mandir.
Yeah, and every day different teacher does assembly, but then twice a week the saints from the Mandir, they give assembly and tell us like important stories with morals, which are quite helpful. Yeah.
The priests.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Santos.
Santos, okay.
And then after assembly, lessons would normally start around 8:50, and then we would have 3 lessons before break. We would have
which would be normal curriculum.
Yeah, normal curriculum.
Okay.
And then after break, we have another 2 lessons before lunch, and then we have another 3 lessons after lunch.
Right.
And then, but also within the school, we have the opportunity to learn stuff that we wouldn't have to have the opportunity to do in other schools.
Which is what?
Such as we have, in our school, gives us the opportunity to learn how to play the tabla, which is a classical Indian instrument. Also, there's dancing and
Indian
singing,
dancing?
Indian dancing and singing, which
Bhajans
is
or
yes,
Bollywood.
No, bhajans.
Okay.
And also, that's part of
that's what makes it different.
Service that's, I would say, different from schools. And also, we have the normal syllabus, like you would have in other schools as well. And we have like lessons of RE every week in the school.
Right.
Up
Are
to
those compulsory?
Yes, they are.
Compulsory.
Yeah, it's a GCSE that the school
and
takes.
Do you do GCSE Hinduism?
We do, well, yeah, the religious studies we do, it has 2 parts, and one of them is the Hinduism.
Right. So that's compulsory, is it? That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
If you go to that school, you have to learn about Hinduism, GCSE.
Yeah, because that's the GCSE that the school does.
It's not something you can opt out of.
And also the school allows us to learn our mother tongue language, Gujarati, as a GCSE.
Right.
Which
only Gujarati? Or
we do French as well.
All right. I meant like Hindi or German? Or
No, our school does 2 languages, French and Gujarati.
Okay.
And that's up to GCSE level. But there is the option of doing it A level if you want to.
Okay. And are there any children, are there any friends that you have at the school who are not Hindu?
Well, I don't have any friends that are non-Hindu in school, but there are many teachers that are from different backgrounds.
Okay, but the students are all Hindu, are they? Or do they have an intake of children who are not from the Hindu faith?
Well, other people are welcome, but I don't have any friends that are in the school that are non-Hindu.
So doesn't it make you very insular in the people you meet, your peer group, all being from the same kind of
not necessarily, because you do get the opportunity to meet with many other people as well. Our school does public speaking, it takes part in public speaking competitions. We get to meet lots of people there.
So you interact with other schools from that.
And also our school takes part in many sporting activities, cricket, netball, football, and various different things when we get to interact with people from other schools as well. Our school does the Duke of Edinburgh Award, for example.
Which is, I suppose, what mainstream. Rana, what's your view on this, on a child actually going to a school and just really interacting with people from their own background, their own culture? Do you think it gives them the diversity, I suppose, of being a British citizen, which is what you're promoting really, isn't it, on the one hand? Do you think it actually promotes, or does it actually hinder children from mixing with other children from other faiths?
The school that we were going to set up had a huge backing from the Hindu community because it was going to be able to make them feel proud of being British citizens.
Right.
At the moment we have only Hindu children accessing the program, but once we would have set up as a full-time school, we have to follow the national curriculum, and I'm sure that with the citizenship ethos, we would have been able to attract children from other settled immigrant communities, or even British children, because we're very much value-based, more than.
But do you know that they've said that the fastest U-turn in British politics has been when the government had this debate on faith schools, and on the 17th of October 2006, the government said that it would amend the Education and Inspection Bill to require new faith schools that are opening to have a quota, 25% quota of children actually coming into that school from other faiths or no faith at all. So it would be a good mix. I mean, this is the conversation we're having that at least broadens the interaction that children have, so there'll be children from other faiths. But 9 days later, after they were going to pass this bill, they did a right U-turn and they said, no, we've decided to scrap that thinking. Now, it amazed everyone because, they were so adamant that it should happen. So what's your views? First of all, why do you think they would have scrapped it? Because don't you think it's a good thing to have 25% from other backgrounds coming into a school? Kunal, what would you have thought with your school? Would that have helped your school, or would it have hindered you in any way?
I don't think it would have hindered in any way at all. I think it would have been a welcome thing that would have happened.
Yeah.
I think having 25% from different backgrounds, whatever, would be actually a good thing, and it would not hinder. I don't think it would hinder anything at all.
What do you think, Rana?
Well, the thing is, for faith schools, they come under the voluntary aided sector, and the difference between a mainstream school and one which is funded through the voluntary aided sector is that the governing body have a right to select which pupils are going to come in. And when we put in our bid for the first Hindu school, the first thing the local authority needed to know was what was going to be our selection criteria. So perhaps with the recent problems we've had on Islamophobia, etc., where I know that the government has been closely looking at the schools, maybe in Pakistan, called madrasas, where I think Tony Blair has just recently come back and given a huge chunk of money to put into the education program. Perhaps they felt that there could be a slight kind of danger there. I'm really not sure why they would have felt that, but currently with the Asian community, a lot of them want to access the Christian schools because of the academic standards.
Because they always say they perform better.
They perform better, and that is why one of the schools in Harrow, St. Dominic's, has got a huge waiting list of Hindu children who want to access that program because of the high academic standards.
Yeah, but there's a whole question, why are they doing better academically? Is that because they're more selective on the children they take in the first place? I mean, how difficult was it for you to get into Swaminarayan school? It's the extra factor. Why do people want to get into these, into the schools?
Well, I suppose by going into these schools, people may want to go into these schools because there's more focus in these schools. Like other schools, there may be like distractions and various other things. And like because these schools are more focused.
Yes, but yours is an independent school, isn't it? So I suppose as far as the people who are actually applying in any event would be the same as those who might apply to other private schools.
Well, I suppose, yeah, but the benefits of going to such a school is that there's more focus, and although there's many other private schools as well.
Yeah.
But then the difference is, compared with other private schools, you also draw good values and cultural values as well, which is important.
And Swami Narayan School, I think, is top of the league tables for Brent, isn't it?
Yeah, and just a few years ago, out of the independent schools, it came 18th in the country, which was quite good.
So, but we've also found in the research we've done that a lot of people want to go to single faith schools because they perform better. But there's no real reason as to why they perform better apart from that they take the brighter children in the first place.
Well, I know with the Harris schools, yes. With the Christian schools, up to the junior, the first and middle schools, they're very relaxed on the selection criteria. But as you know, as they go into higher schools, there is a huge demand. And therefore, you know, they are very, very fussy.
But the other side of the argument is it a good thing to separate children by religion and ethnic background at that age, you know, before they even know that what they're thinking, what children are thinking, they already have this indoctrinated in them that, you know, I am from this religion and therefore I go to this school. I'm talking worldwide. Is that a really good way of actually integrating societies, or is it already putting children into segments of where they come from and what their background is?
You see, when the Asian community, I'm talking as an ex-East African Asian, when we first settled in this country about 30, 35 years ago, at that time, you know, if we had launched our faith schools at that time, it would have been
a different story.
It would have been a different story. But Britain has been a very, very tolerant society. Our cultures have been allowed to thrive and flourish in this country. And in every school today, Diwali, Eid is celebrated in great style, so that all children know what these festivals are all about. And I think most of us are now feeling very confident in the way that our children are growing in this multicultural society. And that is why I feel that the timing you know, of the Hindu school when we started putting the bid in was, we were slightly out of synchronization, because I think by which time, you know, there has been a lot of news about fundamentalism. And it would have been better that, you know, a bid which had encompassed citizenship would have come forth from a Hindu group to impress upon other faiths, to say this is the way forward for this country, because our children are born here, our future lies here, and let's work together. Let's be bound by values which are beyond our backgrounds. So I think the timing of you know, the Hindu school was slightly that we were all late in coming into it. I feel teach about other faiths.
Just put it into perspective, I mean, how many schools are there? There's 22,000 state maintained schools in this country. So 22,000 state maintained, out of which 7,000 only are faith schools. So it's not a huge number. Out of those, there's 30 which are Jewish schools. This is what, nationwide. 8 are Muslim schools. There's only 1 Sikh school, which is state maintained. And so far, apart from ISKCON, who haven't even got off the ground yet, there is no Hindu state-maintained schools in all of Britain. So therefore, we're having this debate and this discussion before they've even launched, before the government have even recognized the first Hindu school as such. So don't you think that all the negatives, like you've just said, that we've had to actually portray ourselves as a citizenship program and encompass everyone, is almost ahead of its time, because we haven't even had the first Hindu school which is state funded.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, the thing is that when we put the bid for the Hindu school, as I said, that there were two groups. One was Hindu school with the
which
Hindu
which was a pure, I mean, they were going on pure Hinduism, weren't
pure,
they?
yeah, but no, they would eventually, I mean, once the school is off the ground, they would have to follow the national curriculum. Yeah. But I felt that, you know, having studied all the Hindu scriptures, that Hinduism is one of the most inclusive religions, with the opening statement of the Vedas, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which means the welfare of the whole society we are looking upon. The government should provide a range of provision of schools, because every parent has their own aspirations of what type of a school they want their children to be brought up in. So as far as I'm concerned, if there are parents who want to send their children to a single faith school, you know, that is their choice. But I personally felt that to give a good positive image of the Hindu community in this country, it would be better that we are given the opportunity to set up the first Hindu school with a citizenship ethos, because with all this media focus on fundamentalism, it would have, you know, brought about a school which impresses upon other faiths to say, you know, we are bound by values. Let's forget about backgrounds and let's work for a better society. Let's work for a better Britain.
And British Asians, really. Yeah, very good point. Well, join us after the break. We're now going for our break, and we will see you in a few minutes. Enjoy your chai with Ritu.
मैं तैयार हूँ।
अब मेरी गूगली खेलो।
बेटा, ये अचानक सीने में दर्द?
पापा?
पराठे? बदहजमी? ये तो अजीब सा दर्द है।
मम्मी को फोन कर रहे हैं।
आज मैं जिंदा हूँ 999 की वजह से।
पापा, गूगली शुगली।
सीने का दर्द हार्ट अटैक हो सकता है। वक्त जाया ना करें, 999 को फौरन।
My chapatis, so I left you these. The next best thing to mine. Elephant Tata chapatis.
Now 10 chapatis for the price of 8. Don't miss the offer, don't be late. 2 extra chapatis free in every pack of Elephant Tata chapati.
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ 5 ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਹੁਸਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀਅਤ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿਰਸੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। Friday 29th of November ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ।
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਨਿਊ ਈਅਰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਸਪਾਂਸਰਡ ਬਾय ਦ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਆਰਮੀ।
ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਆਰਮੀ ਕਾਮਨਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਥ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਜ ਹੀ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ।
Army, be the best.
If you take the various components of the Asian community, it is natural to start with the Sikhs. They are a very martial.
Discuss your views, your opinions, your lifestyles as British Asians. Hello, welcome back to Chai with Ritu. To all our viewers, we are having a debate today about faith schools. And the topic of discussion is it an aid or a hindrance to us creating a society which is cohesive and will move forward? Now, a philosopher of faith schools by the name of Professor Amartya Sen, he's been known to be a leading moral philosopher on the subject, and he's said quite categorically and openly that Christian schools are acceptable, but other faith schools such as Muslim, Hindu, Sikh schools are damaging and should be scrapped. Quite a bold statement, but let's see what our guests have to say on that. Rana, what's your views on that? Should other faith schools be scrapped because they're not actually doing the job that we want to do, which is integrate with our society?
The thing is, if you look at the population statistics now of Great Britain, as you know, this government has opened the floodgates, and there are many boroughs in London, and I think there are almost 5, which are now ethnic majority. And before the population makeup was we had the British, we had the Afro-Caribbean and the Asian community.
Yeah.
But now we've got people from Eastern Europe. Now if everybody starts demanding their own schools with their own faith, we are going to completely fragment the society. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning, that a few years ago, when there was less of the diversity, it would have been better. Then we would have the 3 or 4 faiths. But now, there are far too many people, and once, they open the doors and say you can have your own faith schools, we'll have far too many groups wanting their own. I think we would be fragmenting.
You're agreeing with him to some extent?
Absolutely,
really?
absolutely,
right.
yes. Because
but doesn't that go against what you're doing, which is to try and set up a Hindu school?
Well, what we were going to do is set up a Hindu school, but with the citizenship ethos. And because I've been in the voluntary sector for 30 years, there's huge gaps at the moment in environment issues, heritage issues. And what we find is we're in areas they've got large immigrant settlers. There is absolutely no input from them in certain areas. And this is why I'm saying that if we have a program where every child feels proud to be British and want to put back into the community, then we can see that we can all put in together to make the difference.
Kunal, what do you think? I mean, should schools like yours be scrapped? I mean,
I think there should be a right to have these other faith schools, such as my own school.
Okay.
I think having these schools are not damaging at all. I think it's good to have these schools because you're reminding of your own culture, and I think it does not hinder any progress at all.
Okay, well, I'll go on to say what his views also are, that he thinks that Tony Blair's government have made 2 blunders, one of which is increasingly encouraging a society in which ethnic minorities are almost identified by their religion, and the second by endorsing the establishment of faith schools, because that's what the government's doing. It's saying, if you can have a case, you can open a school. So what do you think of that, Kunal? Is that, would you agree with that statement, that Tony Blair's government's made 2 fundamental mistakes and everyone's now being known by their religion?
Well, I don't think that's true to an extent. But
Okay. Why don't you think it's true?
Well, I think that, well, although people may be identified by the religions, like if they're in different faith schools, but then at the same time you're still a British citizen and you're still a part of the same society as well. So
Okay. So would you call yourself, if someone said to you, Kunal Sapat, what are you? How would you answer that?
I would say I'm a British Asian.
Okay. And that's how you'd identify yourself?
Yes.
First and foremost, before you go on to say, well, I'm actually Indian and I'm Hindu.
Well, it's a bit of both, really, because I'm a Hindu, but at the same time a British citizen as well.
Yeah.
So it's really a mixture of both at the same
So,
time.
like we said last week, we're still carving our identity, aren't we? Rana, what would you say about that? The statement he's made that Tony Blair's government's made two fundamental mistakes. One is endorsing faith schools, and the other one, almost by encouraging people to say what religion they are first.
Initially, multiculturalism was fine for a few years, but I think we all now realize that it's the tail end of multiculturalism, because the problem, I think the biggest blunder this government has made is, political correctness, if I may say so. It's gone completely pear-shaped, and some of the way the media actually puts a spin onto things like Christmas, where ethnic minorities, it is actually going against us, and it's creating more tension amongst different races. So yes, I believe that I don't think this faith school issue, because there are not so many Asian faith schools as we've just seen. So I think the biggest blunder has been political correctness, and also opening the floodgates, and encouraging far too many people here. I think that's the biggest blunder, actually.
So how do you see the future with your own dream of having a school? Tell us about it. Share it with us, with our viewers.
The foundation school white paper, which has just gone through, Ruth Kelly, that is the kind of umbrella that we would love to come under, because in the faith school, I think we lost out because we were saying we are a faith school with the citizenship ethos, and we weren't strictly faith, and maybe that's why we kind of got left out. But with the foundation schools, I think that would give parents the power to run schools in the way they want. And if now that there's a delay on the second Hindu school that we want to launch, what we are trying to do is replicate our citizenship program to other ethnic groups, to say this is how you give positive images of yourselves, because survey has shown that race hate crime has been on the increase since 9/11 and 7/7. So we are now replicating our program into areas particularly where there's large populations of ethnic minorities.
Okay, and Kunal, you grow up, you become a man, you have children. Would you send your children to the school you've been to, or would you want them to go to main school?
Well, I think it's good to go to faith schools, because then you're reminded of your own culture and religion and values.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas if you go to normal schools, okay, you may not get it completely, but at such schools, an emphasis is put on that. It's important to be in a multicultural society.
No, I understand that, but would you send your children to a Hindu school?
Yes, I would.
You would, so you endorse them. Good. Good to hear from both of you, and I wish you all the best. And I believe you want to go into medicine, is that right?
Yes.
Very good. Well, I hope you do achieve your goals. And thank you, Vanu, for coming on to the show. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching Chai with Ritu this Tuesday evening. Now, don't forget to log on onto our website, which is www.chaiwithritu.com. I want to hear from you as to whether you have any achievements that you want to share with the rest of our MATV viewers. Achievements such as winning dance competitions, winning singing competitions, rapping, any kind of competition, any kind of athletic competition. Please go onto my website, let me know what it is that you have achieved that you want to share with the rest of our viewers, and let's celebrate your achievement, and that's what I really want to do. And also, if there's any topics or discussions that you think we should cover on this show, please log in and let me know, and email me on the info@chaiwithritu.com that you'll find on the website. Well, That's all we have time for today, but I want to wish you all a magical, magical Christmas. May all your wishes come true and have an outstanding 2007. And here's signing out, Chai with Ritu.